Hello my fellow Americans, Senator John Rube Boob here, your Dominion-elected representative of Congress to give you a word from the United States government. We would like to welcome you to another Independence Day filled with government lockdowns, government muzzles and ever-intensifying threats against you the American people. We in the American government are very angry about the majority of you refusing to shoot our government-mandated mystery juice. All we want is for you to take just one fix. Your puppet President Biden declared that 70% of Americans need to be vaccinated by July 4th, and virtually none of you listened. Almost 60% of doctors refuse to take the jab, as well as most Americans. This dramatically fucks up our coming plans of introducing Delta COVID lockdowns and even more tyrannical lockdowns this fall. And blaming it on the unvaccinated when the wheels on our scam start falling off. To try to turn society against itself before it finally turns against us and all of our lies. Not enough of you are taking the jab to further our plans of societal destruction and our ability to turn our house slaves against the rest of you. Because all of you, at least the still mentally functioning ones, know we're about to hit you with the Delta strain of COVID, which will make all previous vaccines pointless and will usher in even more tyrannical government control, more lockdowns and more destruction of the American middle and working class once you get comfortable this summer. These new COVID strains that we're planning to hit you with will be the pretense that enables us to usher in a vaccine passport, which is just a cover for a social credit system to ensure society is eternally divided to the point that we always remain in control. Democracy is a modern code word for an elite-controlled society where they can pit one marginalized elite-controlled group against another, thereby ensuring nothing improves. And the people never have any control or ability to fight against the real problems in society. This is why we desperately need you all to shoot up the magic juice and get to 70%, so the majority can overtake the minority, once this scam starts falling apart. But you, the American people, after almost 2 years of this, and watching the trickery, just aren't buying it anymore. You're not supposed to question any of this. You're just supposed to obey. Also, don't question why the majority of American cities are not just suddenly on fire this summer from riots and shadow groups. I guess everything is suddenly okay in America now that an old white man with KKK connections is supposedly in charge of the country. And the racial disharmony disappeared with the COVID lockdowns. Magically. While 40% of American small businesses were destroyed in the biggest wealth transfer in history, as the wealthiest 1% doubled their wealth and assets. Every study shows these lockdowns have been a disaster on every level. As cities have been destroyed, and are visual metaphors for the destruction of the mind and soul of Americans. But we'll never admit to it. Matter of fact, we, the United States government, is doubling down by sending our representatives into vaccine-hesitant communities, to try to persuade people in less controlled areas, who don't want to inject untested mystery Kool-Aid from entities who openly despise them. How do you think those conversations in vaccine-hesitant communities with government representatives will go? Shoot this mystery poison into yours and your children's veins. Because of a meme flu you're virtually guaranteed to be fine from. No. Then what? What happens then? Oh yeah, we have the power to imprison you and do whatever we want to you. Come on, America, stop fucking around here. We need you to shoot the shit so we have a cover when everything like the thousands of deaths already associated with the vaccines. Or all of the horrifying health and birth defects start becoming too big to ignore. If it costs tens of thousands of lives to save just one with our COVID vaccine, it was worth it. We also need you hooked on our juice, with just one fix, so you're psychologically and physiologically enslaved to our agendas and whims. What's it going to take? We've thrown every celebrity at you we can think of. Even though we haven't made any new ones in about 20 years and the ones that exist are all hideous. Meanwhile, while your government has eradicated the middle class, pseudo-government investment firms with unlimited money who are above the law, are now buying American real estate en masse across the country. Spiking real estate prices, ensuring that the average young American will likely never be able to afford a house. Thereby making it pointless to even pretend to play the game of being a law-abiding citizen in this utterly corrupt, degrading society. Inflation is running rampant. threatening to spike to the highest levels in American history while the American economy is a house of cards in a hurricane, completely rigged to work against the interests of Americans. The American legal system has become so slanted that compromised judges conceal important court evidence from the public because of it being too sensational, while transsexual surgery and rampant murder is featured on the nightly news. And American voting integrity continues to live up to its reputation as a 130,000-plus fraudulent ballots just mysteriously appeared in the recent New York City Democratic mayor election. And your intelligence agencies are shifting their focus from the government-created boogeymen of dangerous Muslims to a new government-created boogeymen of dangerous Americans, who might think a little too freely or have crazy notions about having rights or being proud of their history. As your Dominion-elected puppet president is threatening to nuke a majority of Americans, and your government's language and actions become more and more warlike against its own people. You are now living in a dystopian hellhole where Fortune 500 companies place marijuana leaves right behind gay pride flags on their floats in parades, even though cannabis is still federally illegal and only the politically connected can profit off of it. And the gay community is being courted by corporations like a 15-year-old runaway at a bus station. But while you, the average American, are being attacked in literally every direction possible by wolves in the henhouse, and your Dominion-elected puppet president is merely a rubber stamp for the Great Reset. The forest was shrinking, but the trees kept voting for the axe was clever. And he convinced the trees that because his handle was made of wood, he was one of them. So be content, America. Get your vaccines. It's just one fix. Prepare to own nothing, and be happy. I am Senator John Rube Boob. And this is your United States government in action.
New world order.